Storygram Network.
Corretto, it's been a while since your voice has been on here. Why don't you lead in?
Oh, no. Don't
Come
do
on,
that to
dude.
me. You're the
I don't
one.
want to.
I just go in there, you know? You're the one. Your voice is beautiful.
Wow, thank you. Wait, is this already the lead in?
Yeah.
We're recording? Okay. Hello, we are the Sonoma Community Center podcast, a place of creativity, connection, and community. We highlight the artists, teachers, and the community that come through the doors of our historic brick building, often called the heart of Sonoma. We share local tips and shout outs to our home, Sonoma Valley. And we are your hosts, Molly Spencer.
Gerardo Diaz.
We are the engagement team of the Sonoma Community Center.
Whoop, whoop.
Welcome to the Sonoma Community Center podcast. Gerardo,
Yeah. What's
how
up,
you
Molly?
doing over there?
You know, it's rainy, so I love this weather, actually. I actually like really rainy weather. Not, the ones where they used to be like 2 drops and you're like, oh, you ruined my day, buddy.
Well, it's November 2024, and I think we're in the middle of is it a bomb cyclone, they say?
Yeah, they say.
And an atmospheric river?
Yeah.
I'm not going to lie. When you hear that voice, too, it's Azelia.
Azelia.
Hi.
Say your last name so I do not butcher
Azelia Mazur.
Azelia, I got a question about your name, though. Azelia. Is it a flower?
It's a plant.
It's a plant, right?
Actually,
Is it
wrong.
poisonous?
Well, right and wrong. So my dad, he wanted my first name and my last name to have an A and a Z next to each other. Maybe not next to each other, but he wanted them in both of my names. And so he came up with the name Ozian. And my mom was like, that's not a real name. Like it needs to be a real name. And he found Azelia, Azelia. It's spelled different from the flower, but
it sounds like Spanish also.
Yeah.
Azelia.
Yeah.
It
I
is.
thought it was Azelia.
it's actually Hebrew and it means flower.
Oh, nice.
So I'm like all the flowers, not
Ooh,
just
she's
the
the queen of
Azelia
flowers.
Not
flower.
just the old lady plant.
She's the
I'm
mother.
not going to lie. I worked in
mother.
flower shops
I do love
forever.
azaleas. They're
I do
beautiful.
too. They're very old fashioned. They're very popular in like the 50s and 60s and 70s to plant because they came back and they're actually pretty hardy.
Nice.
Yeah, great colors.
Yeah.
You're like the mother of the flowers.
I'm the
Mother of the
That's
flowers.
how I've always thought about myself.
Gerardo, you are popping today, going right into it.
I'm sorry.
Let's share with our guest, Azelia. You're part of the Sonoma Community Center staff, which is so
Yeah,
exciting.
I am.
I love having you here.
I love being here.
You're like a
That
ray.
sounded sarcastic, but I really do love
Yeah.
being
I know
here.
you do. I know you
You've
do.
been here for what, like a year
Like
and a half?
year and a half. Yeah.
And Sonoma Ceramics, you're the Sonoma Ceramics tech.
I'm
Amongst
not,
many-
technically, I'm not the tech. I'm the studio coordinator.
Got it.
And I take on a lot of different roles, and I feel like more of a manager position,
Yeah.
but I do tech work.
What's some of the things in Sonoma Ceramics? I'm just sharing this with people that, we do a lot of ceramics podcasts here, but if they were going to come and explore, they usually would come and see you. You would take them on a tour. Kilns, scheduling, open studio, dealing with many probably personalities that come through there and just making the calm. I feel like it's a calmer place since you've been here.
Oh, that's great. That's great to hear. I wouldn't know because I wasn't here before. So.
You're right. Let's just take my word for it.
Yeah. So if you want to sign up for a studio membership, you have to go through me first. So you'll email me and then I'll set up a tour with you. Usually the tour consists of me taking you through the spaces, talking about our cleaning protocols and what we expect of you, and also just answering all of the questions. It's an orientation. And then we offer 60 hours of studio time every week. We're closed on Sundays and holidays, but I think we offer maybe like the most amount of studio hours in the Bay Area. I'm not sure if that's true, but I want to believe it's true.
It feels like it when you work here. Right?
Yeah, absolutely. So we're open from 10 a.m. to 8 p.m. every day, except for Sunday. And then we also have the option to do a home studio membership. So if you have your own ceramic studio, set up in your garage or in your basement or wherever. You can make at home, and then you can come in and you can use our glazes. You can get your work fired. And then also on top of all of that, we have a bunch of classes and workshops and stuff. We're going to offer a soda kiln workshop in December. That's going to be really exciting.
Tell people exactly a soda kiln. I'm sort of familiar with it, but if anybody does not know anything about ceramics, there's a gas kiln, which is our largest kiln that we have here, correct? Electric kilns, which people are probably used to when they see in their mind.
Right.
You're right. Tell us a little bit about the soda kiln.
Yeah, you say soda, and I'm like, oh, Coca-Cola, Pepsi.
No,
What are we
not
doing?
that kind of soda. I am not the number one expert on soda firing. I have assisted in some soda firings, but if you want to know a lot more about it, I would talk to Meg. She's like,
Meg and Dan, I think, shared a little bit about that.
Soda bicarbonate, I believe, they're putting into the kiln. And at the temperature, we do a mid-range firing, which means it goes up to cone 6. And it's, I think, around 2100 degrees. So pretty hot.
That is hot.
And at that temperature, the soda melts and then it creates like a shine.
It's got kind of a shiny, almost, doesn't
Like
it seem a little
glass?
bubbly?
I don't know. I think it depends on where it is in the kiln.
Iridescent sort of
Iridescent, maybe. It's very like earthy in a lot of ways. So you can put like a raw, unglazed clay body in the kiln and you'll get a beautiful shine when it comes out, if it's in the right spot. So sometimes the soda doesn't reach to all of the pots. So you'll get more of a like rough
matter.
Yeah. But like I said, I feel like I'm not the best person to talk about soda firing with.
That's okay. That's enough soda.
So
we're here to talk about you anyway.
Oh.
I always think about those ovens, those kilns. Can you do like glass in those things too, or no?
There
Does it get hot
are
enough?
kilns that do glass, but I don't think it would be. I mean, you can put some glass in with your ceramics. That's a whole other thing that some people do.
Is it singing?
Yeah. So you can get glazes that have little bits of glass in it, and then that creates a cool effect in the glaze.
Nice.
But our kilns aren't glass kilns.
Have you ever done one of those?
No, I haven't.
No? That'd be cool.
Yeah. It would be cool.
Yeah.
I always think about when I have ceramics, I always think about, oh, maybe I should get into ceramics and start making plates and then sell those plates to high-end restaurants.
Yeah.
And
That's
make some
the
You're
dream.
always welcome.
That's the
You know,
dream.
we're right over there.
Gerardo,
Just
you
come on
should
back.
step out of the kitchen and get on
step-
down
I
there.
should.
Yeah.
Your daughter is really talented
Yeah,
at it.
she
I feel
is.
like you need a mother and father
Yeah.
clay class.
Oh, that means I need to talk to my daughter. That's weird.
No, I have a teenager too. They don't talk. That's what the zen thing about pottery. Remember?
Yeah, you don't have
you're
to talk
doing
while
it.
you're doing
This
ceramics.
is my teenager. She's like, where are you going? I'm like, oh, I'm going to go here. And then she goes, can I come with you? So
That's nice.
you
Aw,
can be
she
together.
wants
And
to
then
hang out with you.
hold on before you say something. Right after she sits down in the car, she's like, I'm going to put my AirPods on, okay?
Aw. She
Sounds
wants
like-
to be around you.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
sweet.
That's how
Yeah,
they
yeah.
are. I don't take it so personally anymore. I'm like, well, at least she wants to stay home and hang out, even if she's
Yeah.
going to be on TikTok all night.
yeah. It's your presence that's important.
That's
But
fine.
we do share some music together. So when we're
Aw.
driving, she loves some music. So I know she likes music. So to get her attention, I'll put in her song, and then she'll turn around. She's like, okay. And then she'll take out her.
Okay.
Yeah. So,
that's
just pretty
sweet.
cool.
Yeah.
I love it. Azalea, you're young here without saying your age. You're a lot younger, I know, than probably
like
Gerardo and I.
22?
You're in your 20s,
no,
are you?
I'm 29.
Okay.
So
You're
I'm
still
like,
baby.
I'm baby, but I'm
you've
not
been
baby
around.
baby.
Exactly. Let's just get right to it. If you live up in Santa Rosa, which is about 30 minutes north of Sonoma, a little bit bigger town that both you and I are familiar. Did you grow up there?
I did.
Were you born there?
I was.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Awesome.
I'm pretty local, but I actually lived in Kenwood for the first 4 years of my life. I don't remember it super well,
nice.
but so I do have some roots in
Yeah.
Sonoma.
Do you have siblings? I never knew that
Yeah,
about you.
I have an older brother.
Okay.
Yeah, he's a big influence for me, definitely. In a lot of ways. He is artistic, but he won't really admit it. He got more into environmental science, and then he recently became a burn boss, which is kind of a
burn boss?
badass
ever.
title. Yeah.
What is that? I want to know now about this.
He does a lot of the prescribed burns in Sonoma County,
Okay.
and a burn boss is the person who leads that. So
So
he
people
has
who
a
get
crew.
burned?
No.
No. You know, when they do prescribed burns to control before a wildfire.
Oh,
fire and
yeah.
stuff, when you see that
So
stuff
kind
out.
of
He
like
does a
a
lot of work.
firefighter where they go and they burn an area down.
Yeah. So instead of being
Control.
a firefighter, he's a fire starter, which is kind of cool.
He's the burn boss, bro.
He's the burn boss. I know he told me, he was like, I'm a burn boss. I was like, what? That's
For a
insane.
reason, I thought for a second, it was like the burn boss. He's the guy who fires everyone.
No.
He's like, you're fire. You're in charge of firing all these people here.
That's
That
funny.
was horrible. That wouldn't sit well on the soul, would it? I can imagine someone would have that title related to.
Yeah, those are pretty cool
you.
though. Fire starters. Those are pretty cool. I've seen them.
So he also does a lot of like habitat restoration in the Sonoma County regional parks. He's been doing
That's
that for
cool.
a while now.
Is he into the beavers?
Oh, he
thing?
loved.
'Cause
Yeah, he
it's
showed
a
me
big
where
thing
he
in
showed
Sonoma
me where
County.
the beavers were,
Yeah.
and him
Bring back the
and
beavers. Mhm.
Soli. I don't know if
Beaver
you've met
dam.
Soli, but
Yeah, solely in our youth department.
yeah. So
Okay.
she's been a friend of mine for a long time.
Wow, I wondered the connection of how she got up here.
Yeah, and then I introduced her to my brother, and then they hit it off. And
Are they together?
Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
She
So-
could be your sister-in-law.
She's kind of like my sister-in-law.
What? I love it.
They
Whoa.
live together, so that's
Wow.
exciting. But anyways, long story short, we do a lot of hiking and a lot of outdoorsy stuff,
Yeah,
and also
you seem like an outdoor kind of person.
Yeah.
You and Soli, you
yeah, definitely
know, hugging trees,
But like with
talking
an
to
edge.
birds and stuff like that.
with
you
an
know?
edge.
With
Yeah.
an edge.
Okay,
Because
okay.
I know you've got that Santa Rosa. You have a partner.
Yeah, he's a tattoo artist out of
Sure.
Monkey
Is he
Wrench
good?
Tattoo in Santa Rosa.
I know that.
Yeah,
I wanna get a tattoo.
Yeah, he's really good.
Yeah,
if
yeah.
you like the traditional style, I would go
Americano?
to him. American traditional. They have
Other
a great
stuff?
crew of people
Yeah, yeah.
that work there. And then what was I going to say about
So,
him?
how many tattoos do you have?
Oh God, I haven't counted, but if
Wow.
you look at me, it doesn't look like I have a lot of
I
tattoos.
know.
Yeah. I want to get some
Tattoos.
matching tattoos with my wife.
You
Aw,
should.
We've
absolutely.
been meaning to get one,
Yeah.
but it's kind of hard because my father-in-law doesn't like tattoos. So
Oh, you have to hide them.
Well,
All the
there's plenty
time.
of places to hide her.
I know, but you get a tattoo, you want to show it, right? I mean, why would you want to hide your tattoos?
I know. I don't have any. Because I thought I would rebel against. I grew up in the 90s. Everybody had a tattoo. Everybody had a piercing. Nothing
Yeah.
wrong with that. But
You're
I'm all,
so
I
cool,
guess
Molly.
I guess I'll go against the grain. I know, right? I am so cool. No, I did some time in Santa Rosa, so I'm familiar
Yeah, you
with
know.
like the
I think
scene
we
and-
hung out with some of the same locations. I definitely grew up
maybe
in the
yeah.
punk scene a little bit
Exactly.
and went
But
to punk shows.
I'm about. I feel like I would be around where your parents.
No, well, I think we overlapped in some ways because I got into it when I was 11. So I
Nice.
started
Okay.
I started going out really young. I went to Clothes. I think we talked about Clothes. It was like an ice cream shop, but they had punk shows in the back and
I definitely went there. I was
Epiphanies.
more in my 20s. I went really early, just going down the punk rock train here.
Mm-hmm.
Papa Ron's was a coffee shop across from Santa Rosa High School, and they had Anarchy Alley, and it was definitely a collage of punk rockers and the homeless contingent.
Yeah.
And it was a pretty hardcore mesh at
Yeah.
that time, but I learned a lot. It was
Yeah.
awesome. I still like to go to a show here and there. So.
Yeah. The Phoenix is still a great spot for that, I
The
think.
Phoenix is
Phoenix.
a gem. It's
Is it
over
the one in
Petaluma.
Petaluma?
Yeah.
In that old theater, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
and Tom Gaffney, his last name, right? I'm looking, he's shaking it. I just love him. I was
I used
there
to- I used
a
to
couple
go
of
see
years
my
ago, and I was
rappers
like,
there.
every time I go, I take a picture with Tom, right? I will say, it does not lose its spirit. It's got even
No.
more graffiti, and I'm pretty sure I went there for North Bay Fashion Ball a couple of years ago. So I went backstage. I'm like, can some of my people get dressed back here? I swear to God, those are the same couches we used to hang out on when we would go see Primus and our local bands.
That's kind of
Same-
gross.
I'm all,
That's kind of gross to hear that. I don't even want to know.
Exactly.
I used to go see my rappers there, my favorite
Yeah, yeah,
rappers.
yeah, yeah.
Yes.
I saw Ice-T there.
Oh, yeah?
What?
And,
I didn't see Ice-T, but local rappers.
when he was going in his punk rock thing, yeah.
Who's a good local rapper?
I used to like Andrew Nicotina.
That was exactly what I was thinking.
Local music scene. I love that.
Yeah.
Can you explain a little bit you are the first person, I just want to share this, which I think is amazing, such a cool thing at the community center. You ran the first ASL, like a pottery night,
that's right.
Yeah.
How was that one?
It was great.
Yeah,
It was really,
How many
really
people you
sweet.
had in that one?
I think we had 8 people.
Nice.
Yeah.
And they knew how to use signs or no?
Yeah. So my parents are deaf.
Both of them?
Both of them. Although my dad passed away about 6 years ago.
So they're deaf from birth or?
Pretty much. So my mom, I think she lost her hearing around the age of 1, and her cochlea filled with liquids. And after that, she wasn't able to hear. And then my dad, kind of a similar story. He got the measles when he was 4, and he got a high temperature and lost his hearing from that.
And there's no machines or anything that they can use to hear? No?
Yeah, there are. But I think there's a lot of conversation about...
Right. I love that movie that came out years ago.
Oh, Koa?
What was the
Coda.
movie?
The Sound of Metal?
Yes, The Sound of Metal.
Okay. I was thinking the other one.
I think it was the closest way to explain within the community that's sometimes shunned upon.
Yeah,
or they're not always that great.
Yeah,
you know?
It's a really complicated thing because it's a really invasive surgery, and they put a piece of metal in your head. And so if my mom gets in a car accident or something, she did get the cochlear implant. And if she gets in a car accident or something, the metal can actually go into her skull. And then she recently got an infection that almost went into her brain because of the cochlear implant, because they have to drill a small hole in the skull. Yeah, you can do that, but also like people can learn sign language.
I know. I want to learn how to sign language. That's pretty cool.
It's always been so fascinating to me, first and foremost of anything. Did you grow up? Was that almost like your first language? Was sign language?
Kind of. It's interesting. When I was really little, my mom, she wasn't allowed to sign till she was 18. So I think in a lot of ways, that's still an issue today. Doctors and professionals will advise parents to not teach their kids sign language because they don't want them to, they want them to integrate into like society and stuff like that. So a lot of these kids don't end up being able to integrate anyways, because then they don't have any language at all until they're like 6 or 7 years old. So they miss all of this time for development and stuff like that. But even today, like in public school systems, a lot of kids do get shunned away from using sign language, and deaf schools are fewer and far between. So anyways, my mom, she grew up, so deafness, this is a whole tangent if you want to hear it.
No, I do. I'm really actually fascinated by your story. Your
so deafness
story.
is a spectrum, just like anything else, like queerness, like vision, anything. So some people have a little bit more hearing than other people. And so they're able to develop language a little bit easier than somebody who has absolutely no hearing. So my mom actually did pretty okay in the mainstream public education system. And she grew up very vocal and then learned sign language at 18. And so growing up, my mom and I were able to communicate verbally. She learned to lip read really well. So she is one of the few people, like, I don't think it's very common for a lot of people to be able to like shape themselves into like something more socially acceptable. I don't know if that's the right word, but she's able to integrate in a way that some other deaf people can't.
Just communication skills that she built.
Yeah. So when I was a kid, I did learn sign language, but I learned in like a child development class that a lot of kids who are either in like a bilingual home situation tend to reject their home language to fit in with society, what's happening at school and stuff like that. So my brother and I both kind of rejected sign language when we were kids, even though we should have been learning. And then I actually went back to school at the JC when I was 14 and took all of the classes they had there. So so I had like a foundation, but I didn't really 100% set into it until I was 14. And then even still, like if I'm not using it constantly, I forget things.
You know, in Apple TV, there's the movie Coda.
Yeah, that's a great movie.
Really good movie. You seen it?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, what a great movie.
Yeah.
You know, it made me cry. You should watch it.
CODA?
Yeah, Coda.
Okay, I
Coda.
definitely have heard of it, but
It's
I'm not.
really good. I mean, it won some awards.
It won a lot of
Oscars,
awards.
I think, I believe.
Yeah, it's a great movie.
Okay,
Yeah.
great.
Check it out.
Not that old. I know. I always got to go to you where my movies are.
I did want to talk about, since we're talking about my parents, my dad, when he was young, he was really artistic. And he got awards to go to RIT in New York, Rochester Institute of Technology, and they have a really great deaf program. So he was multi-talented. He did a lot of digital stuff at the beginning of the computer and things like that. But he also did realistic painting. And he was the first deaf person to dance with the Great American Ballet.
Wait, excuse me?
Yeah.
I had no idea
Yes.
your dad was a dancer.
Yeah, he was a dancer. And then he did...
And a ballet dancer, no less. You got to have some skills.
Yeah.
How do you dance with music, though? How do you...
There's cues. Like you watch other people, what they're, you're staying in tune in a completely different way.
If you're on a professional level, you're going to know the counts, because if you're on tour and it happens, like you can watch a Paul Taylor documentary, one of my favorite from years back, and the music will go out and you just keep time because you keep on going. So you keep time with your people. So if it comes back on, you're in perfect time.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't really know how he did it specific. Like, I'm not deaf, so I don't know, but he did it, and that's awesome. But he ended up getting an art therapy degree, I believe. And then he got a job at the Napa State Hospital as an art therapist. My mom, she's also in psychology. She got her master's in psychology, and she worked at Willow Creek in Santa Rosa with a program for deaf and abused children. And that's what she raised me doing. But she met my dad, I think it was like a psychology conference where my dad was speaking. So that's how they ended up. That's how they ended up meeting.
So is your dad from back here and he went back to the East Coast for a while, or is he from the East Coast?
He's actually from Ohio.
Okay.
From Cleveland.
Cleveland, Ohio.
Yeah. I don't actually know. I think he got brought here. My brother was born in Oakland, and there was like a shooting in the apartment complex where they lived, and they moved to Kenwood.
Yeah.
So I almost was raised in Oakland, but
not rare.
Yeah. But yeah, he was doing his work, I think, out of Berkeley or Oakland when he met my mom.
Wow.
Yeah.
So that exposes you pretty early on to the importance of art and mental health and all of it.
Now we know where you get your talents.
Well, the funny thing is that it took me a really long time to figure out that I wanted to be in an art space. I spent most of my life working with animals. So I was...
Oh, really?
Yeah. So this is like a totally new turn for me. And I have changed my major like 30 times in college. And I like never really knew what I wanted to do, but...
Did you have a lot of animals growing up? And what kind of animals? Like, was it dogs and cats, or was it horses?
Are you a cat lover?
Well,
lizards,
growing
snakes.
up, I would volunteer at the Humane Society and stuff like that. I just always had a really good connection with animals. I don't know. But the job that I had before this one was I used to milk Asian water buffalo.
Yeah.
For 3 years.
That is the most wild job besides your brother.
Yeah.
Burn boss.
Yeah.
We have Dr. Doolittle here,
Yeah. I worked up at Safari West for 3.5 years as a tour guide.
I was going to say, where do you find an Asian buffalo around here?
Well, that's different. The Asian water buffalo are in Petaluma.
Those are the ones that they go in the water. I think they dive for 25 minutes.
I don't.
5 minutes, I think.
I don't know.
I think they dive. I've seen the videos. That's why.
Wait, what do you mean? Die or dive?
They dive.
So they can be underwater
for 5 minutes. They can hold their breath for 5 minutes.
He knows random.
I didn't
just
even
another
know that.
one of
I didn't even
Gerardo's
know that,
fun facts that he likes to bust out, and
I
is
just saw
usually
the
right.
video.
Look it up, Takeshi.
That's pretty cool.
I just saw a video. That's why.
Yeah. So Asian water buffalo in places like India, they have been drinking their milk for a long time, like thousands of years or something. And then the Italians, they were like hanging out in India, and they were like, oh, this milk has 50% more fat than cow's milk.
So they make cheese.
Yeah, we can make cheese. So they started shipping them over to Italy, where they started making the bufala mozzarella. Yeah, and so actually the mozzarella that we typically eat in the States is not real mozzarella because
No,
it's made with cow's milk. And then my previous boss, Audrey, her and her husband started a Asian water buffalo dairy out in Petaluma, Tamaulipas area.
I even wonder if the mozzarella that we is even cheese at this point.
I don't even know anymore.
Is it cheese?
Who knows what's
It's milk. It's I mean, relatively easy thing to make. It's just that there's not a plethora of buffalo anymore
we don't have
to be able to access,
Well,
the cows took
the
over.
Asian water buffalo are a lot more wild than cows.
Okay.
Yeah, and they're a little more aggressive because they haven't been domesticated for very long. And so there really isn't a lot of them in the United States anyways. They're super difficult to take care of.
Do they need like a cooler weather or they're fine? Because
no, they're fine.
How are they different from, I guess,
a regular buffalo from here.
I'm from actually Buffalo, New York.
That's a great question.
So, and I would just be curious as to the buffalo breed is probably a wild buffalo of, the original.
So the Asian water buffalo, they have been domesticated for a while, which is why you're able to like milk them and stuff like that. But the American bison is a lot different. They have shorter horns. They have really fuzzy body. Like, I don't know if you've seen the American bison, and they are made for living in snow and stuff like that.
They're tasty.
I'm gonna guess, I'm not totally sure about this, that the buffalo of New York is probably actually a bison, an American bison.
Yeah, so
because it's a really cold climate. Yeah. Okay. So cool.
They look a lot different. They don't look if you saw them standing next to each other, it wouldn't be the same. Yeah. So I did that, and then I volunteered in Costa Rica for a month at a wildlife rescue center.
Where in Costa Rica?
I was all over Costa Rica. I was there for 4 months total.
I only went really south.
I want to go fishing there.
Yeah, it's amazing. I like think about it all the time. But I worked in the vet office there, and I assisted the vet in doing like necropsies and
in Spanish.
No, I tried to learn Spanish when I was there.
Come on.
I have like literally, I know I shouldn't have excuses, but I've been made fun of for my Spanish accent multiple times. And now I'm just
shame on those people. Shame on those people.
I know, I'm deeply like, I know I shouldn't be concerned about it, but like,
you shouldn't.
I'm right where you are, Gerardo.
If a person is trying to speak other people's language, I don't mind. I don't care about accent.
It shouldn't matter, but I have been really made fun of for like how bad my accent
by
is.
Another Mexican?
No, maybe. I don't know. Like sometimes I'll try to order stuff in Spanish and like they don't even know what
I want to hear this. I want to hear this.
My daughter makes fun of me.
I want to hear this. How will you order a burrito? How will you order a burrito in Spanish?
No. I'm not going to do this on the radio.
Come on. Frijoles. You see, she's good.
Frijoles negro.
There you go.
Con queso.
There you go. Molly sometimes has the keys. You remember the keys? ¿Dónde están las llaves?
Yes, llaves. I was trying to say it yesterday because I lost my keys again. I know, I'm slowly like, I'm the same. I'll do my Duolingo. I'm like, I'm reading it, and then I like go to say it.
I like to correct people.
Yeah.
Not to laugh. I don't laugh. Like,
yeah.
Sometimes Kat comes with me. Kat is pretty good in Spanish too. And Kat will come and I'm like, oh, you need to flip this, and that's how you make that work.
It's speaking it. It's a little intimidating.
It is.
But I love like sitting in the kitchen and hearing everyone speak Spanish because I can now get a little bit of what's going on. Yeah.
Yeah. When I went to Costa Rica, one of the big things for me was that I wanted to learn Spanish while I was there. But when you're traveling in a place like Costa Rica, you end up staying at hostels, and hostels are like mostly English speaking people. And so I feel like I didn't really get to interact with a lot of the locals, and I would order like my food in Spanish and stuff like that. But to have like a real conversation wasn't as common.
Yeah.
But if I could do it again, I would try to focus more on that.
Duolingo, man.
Yeah,
I know.
That's where I'm at. And then Gerardo can just be Look at him. We're doing it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're doing this in Spanish next year.
Yeah, that'll be my New Year's resolution.
There you go.
Spanish. And then I'll be trilingual, which will be really cool.
Oh, yeah.
I know. I
Which
love
one
that.
do you speak?
We
You
want to
speak
learn
what?
sign
American
language.
Sign Language,
Okay,
Spanish,
that's right.
and
And
English.
then English.
Yeah.
Damn.
I've always wanted to be trilingual or like more.
Go French
That'd be
too.
cool.
Might as well. You know?
Yeah.
I took Italian here at the community center.
Oh, nice.
Like 20 years ago.
Oh, cool.
So it was cool. It took it a couple of years, knew very minimal by the time I got to Italy. So when I went to learn Spanish and we went there for our honeymoon,
Yeah.
down to, it all came out after a couple of drinks, it all came out Italian.
Italian and Japanese. That's two of the languages that I want to learn.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Japanese would be
Japanese
very
just sounds
cool.
so cool
I
because it
know,
sounded
it
like
does
they're
sound-
angry all the time. And I go, yes, I want to sound like that.
That's so funny.
I don't know. Language is just so fascinating, I think.
Yeah,
When you
and
see
I'm
like
just-
the origin of words. Like I finally learned is I think through Duolingo because I'm like, oh, that makes more sense that Tuesday would see this, and it actually just reflects back to the gods that were named after that day, and it makes a lot more sense in
Interesting.
Spanish than it does. But then there's a few that cross over into a Nordic language. It's
You're like,
I'm just really
Interesting.
disappointed in the US for not teaching their kids more languages because like you go anywhere else
well, in
and
Europe,
it's like
you go in Europe and
Yeah.
all those countries, they all
Yeah.
speak like multiple languages.
when I was in
Problem.
Costa Rica, all these people from Europe were there and they were just like, wow, you are dumb. Like,
I mean, I was always a little jealous that I never got. Well, I was also older when I came out here, but when they did the bilingual program at both schools,
Yeah.
Adele, which is sadly closing,
Mm-hmm.
and Flowerly, I feel like it's such a heads up.
Well, this is the thing here in the United States. The Americans were like, "This is America. We only speak American."
And
Right.
then we'll
And that
just
was
bring
it.
our language to every other country and like get everyone to
Learn,
speak
our language,
English
Yeah,
and
yeah.
What?
stuff. I just
When
yeah.
you walk down the streets of New York City and you get to hear,
Oh, you
your
got
couple
Puerto
of blocks,
Ricans
you
and
got
everything.
everything going on.
Boricuas over
The
there.
smells
cool.
and the different languages. It's just,
Yeah.
it's like, how can
pot.
that not just be the most exciting experience to
Yeah.
have that? It's all going on at the same
Well, the
time.
people who are open for it, they're okay.
Yeah.
But and then you got the people who are like, why are they speaking other languages?
Right.
Yeah.
right.
Yeah.
They should be speaking English.
Yeah,
That's
yeah, yeah,
definitely
yeah.
No.
a divisive
Yeah.
situation right now,
well.
but we'll keep on going on.
Yeah.
Keep learning.
Yeah, exactly.
Never too old to learn. Maybe I should take that advice for myself and learn how to Japanese or something.
Yeah.
Bust out your Duolingo.
I know that'll be nice.
New Year's is coming.
I can barely speak
Yeah.
Spanish and English.
Konnichiwa.
Here. Jesus. You know.
So, well, speaking of that and trying something new, what's your art story? So you are a ceramics artist right now, and I see it in your wild work. First of all, if they're listening, where can they find a visual? You're on Instagram.
Yeah. So I actually have like so many Instagrams, but my two main ones are Zay with clay, and there's underscores in between each of those words. And then I also have Azelia Photography.
You came to photography first. What's your kind of journey?
So I've always dabbled in art since I can remember, but I never really thought it was an option as like a career. To be honest, my dad wasn't really around in my life. He left when I was 4 years old. So he was the big art person in my life and he wasn't there.
This might be a personal question,
Yeah.
but it comes from a place of, did you have any resentment towards the art world
No.
because
No,
of,
it wasn't related
my
to
parents
that. It
are
was a mental
religious
health
and
thing.
there was a little- yeah, thing.
My dad, this is going to be personal, but my dad had traumatic brain injury. And so he was very violent when I was young. He wasn't the person he used to be. And he ended up, police.
A lot of
and
things, yeah.
He had to go. And then I didn't interact with him. I think I met him once when I was 16. He lived in Napa, so he was close, but it was like, separation. Anyways,
Yeah. Separation of Sonoma between
Yeah,
Sonoma's and Napa.
so he wasn't in my life, but my grandparents were really into theater.
His parents or your
My
mother's?
mom's
Okay.
parents were, my dad's family was mostly in Ohio, so I didn't really know them that well. I'm still connected to some in San Diego, but on my mom's side of the family, they lived in Santa Rosa with us. not with us, but we were close. And they took us to like a lot of theater growing up, and they put me in theater and dance classes and all of that stuff. So I had a little bit of like an introduction to like theater arts, but then I kind of rejected it. I didn't want to keep doing it. And I got into photography when I was 12.
Okay.
I believe I got my first film camera, and then I took...
Was it dark work? Did you
Yeah. So I took a summer youth programs class at Sonoma State in photography, and I did black and white film. So we developed film in the dark room. And then I continued to do photography like...
Do you know if they still do that?
Yeah. I
That's
actually
amazing.
just graduated from Sonoma State recently. So
Congratulations.
they still have the dark room. It looks exactly the same as when I went there when I was 12. It like didn't change at all. I was like, whoa, this is like a time capsule. But then how did I get into ceramics? So I studied at the JC. I graduated from the JC when I was 19 with 2 associate's degrees. And then I took 5 years off of school. That's when I was working at Safari West and milking water buffalo and volunteering in Costa Rica and just dipping my toes into all sorts of things. And then I decided I don't want to do backbreaking labor on a ranch anymore. I'm going to go back to school. And I thought about being a physical therapist. So you can get any degree, or like you can get a degree and then you transfer into physical therapy. So I chose biology, but I hated it. And I was like, I'm not a biologist. I'm not a scientist. It's just not for me. And I would be doing my homework in the art department, sitting at their tables and stuff. They had a nice little courtyard, and I'd see all the people with their canvases, and I'd see all the people with their art supplies. And I was just like deeply like, I want to be here.
Yeah.
I don't want to be in biology, but I still had this thing in my head. Oh, I could never get a job in the arts. I'm not even that good. I just want to do art. So I talked to my mom and I was like, hey, I think I want to change my major again for like the 40th time. And she's like, freaking do it. So super supportive.
Yes, Mom.
And I had already done photography for so long. I wanted to pick something I'd never done before, because like, what's the point of going to school is to learn something new. And so I had always thought ceramics was cool, but I also liked the functionality of it. And it's like not plastic. So I thought like, oh, it'll degrade and da-da-da-da-da. Everything I thought about ceramics in the beginning was kind of wrong. It lasts forever. But anyways, so I chose ceramics and sculpture, and I just loved it. And I also told myself before I started, whatever you pick next, this is going to be what you're sticking with. You're not allowed to change your mind one more time.
Oh, how disciplined.
Yeah, I was like, you've done too many twists and turns. Like your life has been too winding. You have to stick with it. So I really dedicated myself to it. In school, I stayed extra hours. I made connections with the techs there. And then they gave me a job as the work study student in the ceramics department. So I was learning how to make glazes. I was learning how to keep up the studios. I was learning how to load kilns and a lot of the stuff that I do here. And then they closed down for summer, and I was like, where am I going to do ceramics all summer? Like, I need a place to work on ceramics. And my friend 15 years ago had shown me this place. So I was looking online, and then I saw a job opening, and I was like, oh my God.
Serendipity.
This is all the stuff that I already do at Sonoma State. And I'm learning how to do this stuff. And like, it would be such a great thing to have a job in this field. That's what I've always wanted. And then I got an interview with Meg. Meg's my boss. We found out we have the same birthday.
Exactly.
So I think that kind of like...
These are my Taurus sisters.
Yeah.
I'm a few days after.
So it was like a week before our birthdays, I sat down for an interview and I was like, yeah, I probably can't start next week because I blah, blah, blah. I have a big thing coming up. It's my birthday. And she's like, oh, next week is also my birthday. And I was like, what's your birthday? And she's like, April 22nd. And I was like, what? My birthday is April 22nd.
Earth Day babies.
I think
often
that
Earth
maybe
Day falls
like,
on your birthdays, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. I think that might be why I got the job. I'm not sure, but somehow I got the job. I had only had 1 year of I only had like 6 months of experience in ceramics before I got the job here.
She's an expert, people.
When I got here, I felt like I don't deserve this.
No,
I'm an
you're good.
imposter.
You're good.
I had like serious imposter syndrome, and I was like, oh my God, everyone's going to find out that I'm not really an artist and that like I don't belong here. But
it's
then
quite the opposite, actually. We all find ourselves here. I, too, didn't think when I was younger. I mean, I always worked in flower shops and did all sorts of art, photography, but you name it. There was no guidance to like, you can make a job of this. You can do this. Sometimes there's intimidation. I still find that by our visiting artists and stuff, but it's a community and they're definitely accepting of whatever level and whatever you're doing. And your work is quite interesting. So I see some of your animal background.
It's
come
in my
out
work.
Through that.
Yeah. So one thing I wanted to say, like the nice thing about having a job here is that the work that I do in ceramics can be as weird and absurd as I want it to be, because I have the like I have income and all of that stuff from this job. So I really let my freak flags fly a little bit with my ceramics. And I think the animals come into play, but also growing up, I felt different for a lot of reasons. I was a child of divorce and witnessed a lot of stuff as a young person. And then I also was a child of 2 deaf adults. So I always felt like in my peer group, like I didn't really fit in. So I think a lot of my critters and stuff are like these things that like kind of...
Sometimes they look a little demonic.
Yeah.
But interesting. Like there's a story there. And I really like to touch your work. When you had that
always
desk
welcome
upstairs,
to touch my work.
I didn't even know you. And then, let me touch this.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. Because I got into ceramics thinking I was going to make functional work. I kind of like to make things be functional and also absurd and weird and unusual at the same time.
You just showed your work for the first time, right? Up in Santa Rosa?
Yeah, I had my first solo show in Santa Rosa and it was so much fun.
Do you have a home studio?
I just got a home studio.
Great.
Yeah, I've been just kind of making a lot of smaller stuff for the winter art market that we're having here.
Exactly. December,
in
folks.
December.
The annual.
But after winter art market, I told myself I'm just going to let it all out.
Let it loose.
Let it loose.
Let the beast loose.
Yeah, so I'm excited for that.
Great.
Yeah.
There's a little portion here, and you probably know that we like to do on this show, and we haven't done it in a while because Gerardo wasn't here on the last one. Let's talk about food.
Yeah, what's your favorite food?
Let's talk about food.
Okay.
Faves. Got anything to lead in here, Mr. Chef G?
I want to know what's your favorite food.
It's like a problem how much I love food, and I
Santa Rosa, you got a lot of food over there.
If I could just eat all the time, I would. But I know it's not good.
You're a
for
tourist
me
like myself. I'm here.
Love food, and like I can't keep my hands off of snacks if I walk by.
She's a snacker, people. She's
I love
a snacker.
Snacks. I love.
You better get your son Leo.
I had one. It was delicious.
Was it?
Yeah, it was.
We're
great.
taking order, people. We're taking orders.
What are we ordering, Gerardo?
Buñuelos. So Leo, my son, my youngest son, he wants to buy some soccer cleats and some Air Force One shoes.
Oh,
Okay.
those are expensive.
I know.
So you told him.
I told him, hey, man,
So impressed
you
with
need
your...
to do something with this. And he's like, I'll sell buñuelos.
Oh,
And you can see, I
love
think I
it.
sent you the flyer. He's in there cooking them, you know.
He's adorable.
So he wants to buy some shoes.
heck yeah!
And he's a really good soccer player, so he wants really good shoes.
Yeah. Well, I got to see Gerardo's
shoe guy.
older son,
Oh,
Sal,
yeah.
play last week in the
The
championship
championship,
at
yeah.
Snow Academy.
Yeah.
The kid can kick
Wow.
Yeah.
across like a whole
That's
football
awesome.
field.
Yeah, he's
I grew
good.
up playing soccer. I love
Oh, you did?
soccer.
Nice.
Yeah.
So Leo is a really good soccer player too.
Yeah.
So he's young.
That's
and
awesome.
he likes shoes.
Yeah.
And when I say he likes
Who
shoes, he likes
doesn't
shoes.
though? I love shoes.
Me
like-
too.
Every time we go to the store, he's like, "Hey, you buying me a pair?" I'm like, no, I just
I
buy
just
you a
bought you
pair.
one last
yeah.
week.
Yeah, he's like, well,
I like that you're teaching him. You know, it's like you like the good stuff.
Yeah,
Start
yeah.
making some money.
Yeah.
Mostly all my kids, when they want something big, that
Yeah.
I can buy it for them. But
Right.
I want to make sure that they can put half of it, or at
Yeah.
least they work for it, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
they
yeah.
always come with the other half. I don't know
Yeah.
what they do. They rob a store. I don't know what they do, but they bring the money in, okay? You know?
Oh, Lord. They're
So,
good kids.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
this one is selling buñuelos. So
Heck yeah. Well,
we
it
took
was
some
like
orders.
perfectly coated with cinnamon and sugar, and like the
Pinuet.
crunch was
We're going to try to say
amazing.
it, right? Pinuelos.
Buñuelos.
Buñuelos.
Bu with the B.
Oh, buñuelos.
Nuelos.
Yeah.
Buñuelos. Okay.
Okay.
I was
Buñuelos.
thinking it was like pinwheel because it kind of looked like
Who
pinwheels.
doesn't like frying dough?
Yeah.
You know? It's almost like,
delicious.
how do you call those? The one they sell everywhere, the funnel cake.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
But crispy.
Are you a sweets or a savory person?
I'm more of a savory
So
person,
am I.
but
Nice.
lately I've been into sweets. It's like a
Yeah.
new era for
a
me.
holiday.
But, you know, I'm a weirdo. I love soup. I just
yeah.
freaking love soup.
This is the time,
I'm
though.
like butternut squash, like my fave.
Okay.
Is
And
that your
chicken
favorite?
noodle, I'll go for it almost any day. I love broth. So my main spot,
Consomme.
ironically, or maybe not ironically, but funny enough, my favorite place to eat in Santa Rosa right now is raku.
Ragu. Okay.
Raku, which is like a type of firing that
it
we
is.
do.
It's
Like,
like a firing of ceramics.
it's a way to fire ceramics.
What do they sell there? Soups?
Yeah, so it's like ramen.
Oh, nice.
So it's like a noodle.
The
Noodle
Yeah.
bar. Oh,
And
we
the-
might
it's
need
so
that.
good.
Tools? Yeah, you know what? My favorite one is the chili beans. I love chili bean in this time of the year.
Yeah.
But right now, what I'm craving a lot is tamales. For
yeah.
some reason,
I love
this
Where
time
are
of the
you
year.
when tamales comes by? Really? That's so funny.
Yeah.
I'll tell
yeah.
you what. Who else is craving it over at the patch? All those corn
yeah.
husks
Oh,
we use for
yeah.
Dia. He's all, I was promised tamales by Gerardo.
Oh, yeah. Oh.
Do you
I
make
need to-
tamales?
I do. I actually
Is it
gonna have a
hard?
class.
I love eating
You know
them.
what?
I just don't know how to make them.
They're not
Yes.
hard to make. It's just a lot of process and it's time consuming. Like
Yeah.
if you're thinking about making tamales, you need to start them like one day before.
Okay.
Especially if you're doing like all the vegetables that you have to blanch and everything. You need a lot of
Oh,
time.
lately too, we've been eating pupusas.
Pupusas are
I
delicious.
love
Those are
pupusas.
Salvadorian.
Yeah, there's a pupuseria down the street from my house.
Where? In Santa Rosa?
Yeah,
Is it by the fair?
yeah,
The fair?
yeah.
Oh, I go through that all the time.
It's so
Never stop, but I should.
good.
Are they
It's
good?
so good. I think it's the best one in Santa Rosa.
I
so good.
have a pupusa story. When I went to LA, one of my sisters, they're like, hey, let's stop at this place. They sell ice cream. So I'm like, all right, let's stop. And then we stop. And then right next to it, there was a place of pupusas. And it says right there, and the building says, best pupusas in LA. And I'm like, all right, I'm going to try one. Okay. So I'm like, which one is the best one? He's like, oh, try the chicharrón with queso. I'm like, all right, give me one. I tasted. I'm like, all right, I'll take 15 of this and 15 of that. Chico, please. The whole ride, I was eating those things.
Yeah, you should
They were
come to Santa
amazing.
Rosa because.
But now I make them.
Oh, you
Now
make
I make them. Now
Yeah.
I make them. Yeah.
Heck yeah.
They're delicious. I know
Okay,
how to
well,
make
you
them
got to
too.
bring us some
Yeah, yeah.
pupusas because
I'm
need
going to have a
some.
class one of these days.
we do have a holiday party coming up.
Yeah.
Oh, we do. You know, for the holiday, though, I'm making birria.
okay,
So-
yeah. I know what
But
those
it's
are.
either birria or barbacoa that I'm making for you guys. Chicken. So we're gonna marinate it and then we wrap it in banana leaves and then
Yeah.
we put it in the oven for like 2.5 hours and let it simmer in
That
there.
sounds so good.
It's just so tender
yeah,
with some beans and rice and
that
some
sounds so
homemade
good.
tortillas.
Thank you.
Yeah. We'll have a
Again,
good.
here we are at lunchtime, starving. It's
I know
always
my mouth
tempting.
is watering and I'm like,
Yeah.
yeah.
What do you like to cook?
I do, but I live in an upstairs apartment. So I really don't cook much during the summer. I rely on all the beautiful restaurants we have around
Oh yeah.
most of the time. And then yesterday I took a home day because I've been working the weekends and I made like 4 or 5 dishes. I just got a brand new Instapot and
Oh, wow.
I've
Nice.
never used one before. So I was like, I'm going to make beans and I made like a beautiful dish of beans. And then I made some rice. It was like wild rice with squash and stuff like that. And I went a little crazy. I was in the kitchen all day and it was awesome.
I love this time of year.
You know, I
We-
just got a new smoker and I saw a book over there by my shelf that says barbecue ribs. And I'm like, okay, I'm going to take a look at this. So I don't
you know, I'm
guys.
not really a ribs person,
You're not.
but yours are the best I ever had.
Oh, thank you.
Like the Korean barbecue
Yeah, the Korean
ones.
barbecue ones. Yeah.
I love
delicious.
those.
What about you, Molly? What's your
Oh, it's
favorite?
the same thing. I did that the other day because our oven got fixed just recently. So
Yeah.
I made split pea soup, homemade, roasted chicken. I'm in the French flavors a little bit right now.
We do have a French cook here coming up December.
Yeah.
So check us out.
Yeah. I love it. I love a roast chicken. I love thyme. I love mushroom soup. I love all of it. Those flavors.
Me too.
Wow.
Awesome.
Even
hungry.
though for a long time everything turned into Italian. I'm all, put some oregano on a pizza. Everything tasted like Italian food.
I really like Thai food though.
Oh,
Yeah.
I like
God.
spicy food.
Yeah. So Thai food, I kind of overdid it, but we have like 10 amazing Thai food places in Santa Rosa, and I was just hitting those up all the time. And I love Thai food. Like, don't get me wrong. I might have gone a little too hard. And then also Indian food is
I
like,
love Indian food.
I like it all, really.
Yeah.
There isn't really any food that I'm not a big meat eater. I don't eat a lot of red meat. I was a vegetarian for 15 years.
Wow.
So was I, and then I worked here. No, then I got married.
I like fish and I like chicken, but then other than that, I don't really eat a lot of meat. But anything like spices and stuff like that, I'm into it.
One of my favorite Thai restaurants in Petaluma actually is the Lemongrass.
I think they're gone.
No, there's two of them.
Okay.
So there's the Lemongrass by
I didn't wanna break your heart.
corner. This one is
They're
right
still
next
here,
to
folks.
This one is right next to that Big Five in that in that outlet.
Okay,
Yeah,
cool. Yeah.
Yeah,
I should check
lemongrass.
it. I've been to the
Delicious.
lemongrass in downtown Petaluma, but I think
Yeah, there's another one.
okay,
Yeah,
there's
that
another.
one's closed.
Oh,
Yeah,
thank God.
yeah. No, and then they have one in Sacramento when I was down there. Oh, delicious.
Yeah.
I like spicy food, that's why. And they had a pad thai that is spicy pad thai with the white noodles, the whiter ones, not the
Oh, I love
thin
the
ones.
fat noodles. They're my
Yes, they're
favorite. Oh, we
delicious.
have
They
like
really are hungry.
udon in Santa
Yes.
Rosa. There's Ippen udon. That place slaps. It's really
Yeah,
good.
yeah.
And they do the fat noodles.
My daughter is into like bento boxes. She's going like, I'm gonna go get a bento box, and I'm like, what in the world is that? And then she comes in and there's all these stuff around it, and then
That's
she's
so
like
fun.
picking, yeah. She's pretty
That's
cool.
so fun. I
She
love
likes
that.
weird stuff though.
I feel like
That's
that's
good
a
for
new
her.
thing. A lot of younger people are getting into like the bento boxes
Yes.
and
I hope mine does. Besides just separating her food because it's left over from being 5 years old. Oh, come on.
5
Salad.
years old.
You know, like when
Oh,
your
she
kids are
started
certain type of
separating.
needs
Oh,
that,
yeah.
like, don't touch this doesn't touch that, this doesn't, and she still, like, doesn't do salad dressing,
Yeah.
likes this on the avocado on the side, you
My
know.
son's super weird. My oldest son, when I do breakfast for them, like potatoes, pancakes, sausage, he'll have his pancake in one plate. He'll
Yeah.
eat that, and then
I
he'll
like
bring the
that too.
potatoes, eat the potatoes. And I'm like, why are you not putting it together? He's like, no. They don't touch. They don't touch.
I feel like that's how my boyfriend eats.
What?
Yeah.
Yeah, he's very like
Now you have to-
specific about the way he eats, but
Now you have to clean 5 plates.
Yeah.
You know what is this?
Interesting.
You know,
yeah,
I kind of look at it that
growing
way
up,
too.
I think the reason I like so many different kinds of food is because growing up, my mom, she worked full time. And so we got like pasta and milk and iceberg lettuce almost every day of the week. Sorry to
Yeah.
say that. So after when I was like let out on my own, I opened this world of Thai food and all of this stuff that was so close.
It's an eye opener, huh?
I was
that
like,
was
oh my
California
God.
for me.
Yeah. So
we grew
the
up
food
hippies
here
in the
is
South.
amazing. Yeah.
I think we got to wrap it up here
Yeah.
pretty soon. But if there's anything sidestep, besides ceramics, eating, you have so many interests. Is there anything here you're like, I wish I had the time to cross over and take that class or get into that department stuff?
Literally everything.
I know,
Like,
right?
That's the problem
I also
with me.
know
I'm
you're
like,
a swing
I
dancer,
need
which
to
we could go down that
focus.
road.
I've been a chronic dip my toes in everything person, and I love being that way. But I'm trying to just
Yeah.
focus. Just like do my thing. But if I was to get into anything here, I would probably do dance.
I know.
I wanna do
almost got
more
you teaching.
Movement, but also cooking. I'm not saying that because it's you too,
Yeah.
but like cooking, dance. And then I've never really been a big 2D person. I'm not good at drawing or painting. I mean, I have my own way of drawing
Right.
and painting that isn't really my favorite, but I do kind of want to learn how to do printmaking too. So,
The printmaking
Yeah.
is so cool.
which I
Yeah.
feel like
Yeah.
covers
That's good.
almost a lot
Yeah.
of the things that we do here. Like I want to learn everything. I want to
Yeah.
learn how to sew. I want to learn more
Yeah.
cooking, more dancing, more everything.
That'll
I
be
know.
good.
I don't know if I
We just
answered
need
your
time.
question. I know. We just
I
need
know.
more time.
We need time, and we can
Yeah.
like bring your coworker to
Yeah.
your
Yeah,
department class.
Yeah.
I don't got time. It's 3:50 and Leo is calling me. Hey,
Yeah.
Yeah.
what time are you coming home?
Yeah.
I need to go to the park, buddy.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, it's hard. I try really hard to do the work-life balance thing because that's been thrown off a few times in my life, especially working at the ranch. And so I'm like, I want time to go to the gym. I want time to spend with my family. I want time to spend
Yeah.
with my friends, with my partner,
Mental health, man.
and all of those things. So I'm really trying to get a good balance, but it's hard.
Oh,
It's
yeah.
hard. And I live an hour away from work, so it's the commute and everything too.
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
It's exciting though. I'm the same way with you, and I think we all are. There's so many interests and there's so much to do that it's hard to slow yourself down to get inspired again,
Yeah.
because I just want to do it all. But then you kind of tap dry a little bit.
Yeah.
So. But we are here, and
Yeah.
everybody
Yeah.
can come and try it out, and we can share our skills, and the skills we don't know, we can learn from others. So Community Center is the perfect place for you, Azalea.
We're
We
the
are
pot.
happy to have you.
Yay. I'm
Yeah.
happy to be here.
Yay.
Thank you.
It's awesome.
All right. Well, we're going to wrap it up, and this will be coming out pretty shortly here in time for Thanksgiving. Okay.
All right. Thank you. Bye-bye.
All right.
Thanks,
Ciao.
guys.